Have you ever said something like this to your child? "That is the most beautiful picture in the world." Or, "You are the best ball player around." Or, "You're the fastest runner I've ever seen." If those are the kind of things you routinely say to your kids, you may want to reconsider your approach. Stick around to see why. In the last video, we looked at how parents can lovingly and consistently enforce rules around their house, but that raised a question that we didn't have time to address. Doesn't enforcing rules harm children's self-esteem? For example, what if you tell your child to clean their room, they don't do it, and the consequence of that is that they don't get to go out with their friends? Doesn't that harm their self-esteem? Here's what we need to realize about the self-esteem movement. It's a uniquely American phenomenon that started in the 1980s. The idea is that children need lots of affirmation to be able to cope well in the world, and in a sense that's true. However, it's morphed into this trophy for everyone mentality where children need boatloads of praise and they're not allowed to fail at anything. We have, in effect, turned self-esteem and happiness into our American God. One of the largest studies of youth and religion found that what appears to be the actual dominant religion among US teenagers is centrally about feeling good, happy, secure, and at peace. You would think that this emphasis on self-esteem would produce significantly happier and more productive kids, but it hasn't. Arlene Pelican notes that the self-esteem movement has not produced emotionally healthier kids. Indicators of self-esteem have risen consistently since the 1980s among middle school, high school, and college students, but rates of anxiety and depression have also risen right alongside. So the short answer about rules and consequences is that they won't damage your children when administered in love, because inflated self-esteem isn't good for your kids in the first place. This type of self-esteem isn't good for kids in part because it does not give them an accurate understanding of their own abilities. Think about an elementary age kid who's told that he's the best basketball player in the world. When he gets to middle school or high school and he can't even make the team, what is he going to think? He's going to realize that all of the praise was untrue. Inflated praise does not motivate kids to work harder. It does just the opposite. Because they're told that they're already the best in the world, they assume they don't need to try harder. They don't need to practice at all because they're already the best. Rather than inflated self-esteem, kids need self-worth. In other words, they need to know that they're valuable and worthwhile in our eyes. Dr. Lehman says that the ABCs of self-worth are acceptance, belonging, and competence. Acceptance means unconditionally loving your child and accepting them just the way they are. Belonging means showing your child that they are a part of your family no matter what, and that you belong together. Competence means empowering your child by giving them responsibility and tasks to complete. As their skills improve, their self-worth will rise because they know that they're genuinely competent at those tasks. Now, I do think we should encourage our children. We don't want to drive them into the ground with negativity and harsh words. But when we encourage them, we have to do it wisely and accurately. For example, don't tell your child that he's the best athlete in the world or the most gifted musician. That's called lying. It may be well-intentioned lying, but it's still lying. Instead, tell your child that he did well in the game today, and then discuss his strengths and weaknesses and ways that he can improve. You can remain positive without lying to him. And here's one last thing to watch out for. Too often, we praise our children for things that are outside of their control or that are just superficial. For example, when we say, "You're so pretty," children can take that to mean, "Oh, my worth is bound up in my appearance." And that's not true. Or when we tell our kids, "You're so smart," they assume that their intelligence is fixed and that they shouldn't have to work hard. So when they do come up against a difficult problem in school, they're actually more likely to give up instead of looking stupid in front of you and their peers. Studies have shown that children who are praised for their intelligence actually do significantly worse on tests than children praised for their hard work. When you praise a child's hard work, you give them a variable they can control. They value working hard more than they're afraid of trying and failing. Now, hard work can't replace good results, so don't lie to your kids and tell them they did a good job if they actually didn't. However, hard work can lead to good results. A few subtle shifts in the way we encourage our kids can lead to major changes in the long run. If the material from this video interests you, I recommend Tim Elmore's book, 12 Huge Mistakes Parents Can Avoid. The book is not overtly Christian, but it is full of practical tips on raising your kids to be responsible, well-adjusted adults.